The steam hit me like a confession I wasn't ready to hear, thick and unrelenting, wrapping around my lungs as David's voice cut through the haze. James, what if I've been lying to myself all this time? My heart slammed against my ribs. The wooden bench beneath me suddenly too hot, too real. As his eyes, those damn blue eyes I'd stolen glances at for years, locked onto mine with a desperation that mirrored my own buried ache. I froze, towel slipping from my grip, the slap of wet fabric against the cedar floor echoing like a gunshot in the dim sauna of that upscale gym in downtown Manhattan. We'd come here after our ritual Friday night beers at the Rusty Nail, just two bros unwinding, or so I'd told myself for the past 5 years of our friendship. But now, with the door sealed shut and the world outside reduced to muffled traffic hums, David's words hung between us, heavier than the humidity clinging to our skin. "David, man, you're drunk," I stammered, forcing a laugh that came out brittle, like cracked ice in a whiskey glass. He wasn't drunk, not really. 2 IPAs didn't turn a guy like him into a philosopher. David Hayes, golden boy of our high school graduating class from that sleepy suburb outside Philly, now a rising ad exec in the city that never sleeps. Straight as an arrow, or so the world believed. Girlfriends rotated through his life like seasons, blondes in summer, brunettes in fall, but none stuck. None lit that spark I'd only seen flicker when we were alone, trading stories over late-night drives or crashing on each other's couches after marathons of bad action flicks. He leaned forward, elbows on knees, the muscles in his shoulders flexing under the low amber light. Sweat beaded on his forehead, tracing paths down his temple that I wanted to follow with my thumb. "I'm serious, James. It's you. It's always been you making me question everything." The air thickened, my pulse roaring in my ears louder than the distant wail of a siren outside. I should have bolted, I'll be damned, but my body betrayed me, rooted like an old oak in Central Park, branches heavy with unspoken rain. That was the moment the dam cracked, the one I'd built brick by brick since we were 18, when he'd punched a bully in the jaw for calling me a fag behind the bleachers. His fist bloody and his grin fierce as he slung an arm around me and said, "Nobody messes with my boy." Back then, it was brotherhood, pure and simple. Now, at 28, with the city lights glittering like false promises beyond the gym's tinted windows, it felt like the unraveling of everything I'd armored myself against. We'd met in freshman orientation at NYU, 2 kids from Pennsylvania wide-eyed at the sprawl of New York. I was the theater kid, all wiry limbs and dreams of Broadway spotlights, hiding my queerness behind sarcasm and stage makeup. David was the jock, lacrosse star with a scholarship and a laugh that filled rooms, drawing people like moths to his effortless flame. Our dorm room became a sanctuary, him blasting Springsteen while I rehearsed monologues, him dragging me to Knicks games where I'd pretend to care about buzzer beaters just to watch his face light up at a three-pointer. Over the years, the lines blurred in ways I never admitted aloud. That time in college when we skinny-dipped in the East River after a party, his body brushing mine in the cold current, both of us laughing it off as guy stuff. Or the winter we spent holed up in his family's cabin upstate, snowed in with nothing but bourbon and a deck of cards, his head on my shoulder during a blackout, breath warm against my neck. I'd lie awake after, staring at the ceiling beams, convincing myself it was nothing, that my heart's frantic tattoo was just the booze. But New York has a way of stripping illusions bare. After graduation, we both landed in the city, me scraping by as a barista by day, auditioning by night, Him climbing the corporate ladder at some flashy agency on Madison Avenue. Our friendship endured. A constant in the chaos. Brunches at Sarabeth's. Runs along the Hudson. Those late-night texts when one of us hit rock bottom. Mine came first. 2 years ago, when I finally came out to my folks over Thanksgiving turkey. Their silence louder than any rejection. David was there the next day, showing up at my walk-up in Brooklyn with pizza and a six-pack, pulling me into a hug that lasted too long. His voice rough, "You're my family, James." Always. I'd fallen harder then, the kind of love that simmers slow, like a pot left too long on the stove. He dated women, always did, but I'd catch him watching me sometimes, a flicker in his eyes when I brought home a guy from Grindr, the jealousy masked as concern. "That dude's a tool," he'd say, slinging an arm around me possessively. I'd nod, ignore the thrill shooting down my spine, bury it under layers of denial. Tonight, though, the sauna was our undoing. We joked about it on the walkover. David complaining about his latest breakup with Claire, the yoga instructor who'd ghosted him after 3 months. Women, man, they see right through me. I'd rolled my eyes, hiding the pang, because I saw through him too. To the boy who'd cried in my arms after his dad died of cancer our junior year. The man who'd held my hand through anonymous HIV tests even though he swore he wasn't worried. Now, here we were, towels barely preserving modesty, the heat pressing confessions from our pores. "What do you mean?" "It's me," I whispered, voice cracking like thin ice underfoot. He swallowed hard, Adam's apple bobbing, and reached out hesitant, like touching a live wire. His fingers brushed my knee, sending sparks up my thigh. I've been fighting it since college. Telling myself it's just bromance, that you're the exception because you're you. But last week, when you kissed that actor guy at the bar, it gutted me. Like I was losing something I never claimed. The world tilted. Outside, the city pulsed on, taxis honking, lovers quarreling in alleyways, but in here, time suspended, just us two, suspended in vapor and vulnerability. I wanted to pull away, to laugh it off as sauna delirium, but his touch anchored me. "David, you're straight. You've always." "Am I?" His voice broke, raw as an open wound. He leaned closer, the scent of his cedarwood body wash mingling with sweat, intoxicating. Or have I just been too scared to admit I'm not? My breath hitched. This was betrayal, not of me, but of the lie we'd both lived. The straight friend who'd opened my eyes, forcing me to confront the truth I denied. That love doesn't play by labels, that the heart's compass points true north regardless of the map. But as his hand lingered, I felt the conflict brewing, the storm clouds gathering. Because if this was real, what came next? Acceptance? Or the shattering of everything we'd built? We sat there, minutes stretching like taffy, until the timer buzzed, a harsh electronic reminder that nothing lasts forever in this heat. David pulled back first, towel readjusted, face flushed not just from the steam. "Forget I said anything," he muttered, standing with forced casualness. "Heat's messing with my head," but I couldn't forget. As we dressed in the locker room, avoiding each other's eyes, the seed was planted. That night, alone in my studio apartment overlooking the Gowanus Canal, I replayed it on loop, the what-ifs swirling like the fog off the water. David texted at 2 a.m. "Sorry, man. Beers tomorrow?" I typed back, "Yeah." But sleep evaded me, the cities hum a lullaby of unrest. Little did I know, this was just the overture. The real drama, the betrayals, the heart-wrenching climbs to ecstasy and abyss, lay ahead, in the tangled streets of our lives, where love demands payment in full. The next morning dawned gray over Brooklyn, the kind of November drizzle that soaks through coats and moods alike. I nursed a black coffee at my kitchenette counter, staring at the steam rising from the mug like a ghost of last night's haze. David's text burned in my pocket. A talisman or a curse, I couldn't decide. Beers tomorrow? We'd planned it for tonight. Actually, but the sauna had thrown everything off kilter. Now, with the city slick under rain-smeared windows, I wondered if we'd pretend it never happened, sweep it under the rug like so many New York secrets. Work dragged. Another shift slinging lattes at that hipster spot in Williamsburg, where trust fund kids ordered oat milk concoctions with names longer than their attention spans. I smiled through gritted teeth, foam art blurring as my mind replayed his touch, the vulnerability in his voice. Am I? The question echoed, a refrain I couldn't shake. By closing time, my feet ached, but my chest tighter still. I texted him, rain check on beers? Sauna wiped me out. Cowardice, pure and simple. His reply came quick, no worries. Call me when you're up for it. Relief warred with regret as I trudged home, the canal's oily sheen reflecting fractured streetlights. My apartment was a shoebox of salvaged dreams, posters from off-Broadway flops curling at the edges, a script I'd been nursing for months gathering dust on the nightstand. I collapsed onto the futon, scrolling Grindr out of habit, but every profile blurred into David's face. Swiping left felt like betrayal, right? Like desperation. 2 days later, he cornered me, literally showing up at the coffee shop during rush, all 6'2" of him in a tailored wool coat, hair tousled from the wind off the East River. James, we gotta talk. The line snaked behind him, baristas shooting me panicked glances, but he didn't budge, those blue eyes pleading. I untied my apron, muttering excuses, and we spilled out onto the sidewalk, rain pattering like hesitant applause. Under the awning of a bodega, he lit a cigarette, a habit he'd kicked years ago, relapsed in stress. About the other night, smoke curled from his lips, mingling with the petrichor. I braced, arms crossed against the chill. Yeah. Heat of the moment, right? Sauna fever. He exhaled sharply, flicking ash into the gutter. That's the thing. It wasn't. My stomach dropped, the city noise fading to a dull roar. He stepped closer, voice low. I've been seeing someone. A guy. The words landed like a sucker punch, stealing my breath. Not me. Someone else. The betrayal stung sharper than I expected, a twist of the knife in the wound I'd only just acknowledged. Since when? I managed, voice steady by miracle. He rubbed his neck, sheepish. A month. Met him at a client thing, Ethan. He's, makes it easy. Easy. The word twisted in my gut. While I'd been pining in silence, David had been dipping toes into truths I'd drowned in long ago. Jealousy flared, hot and ugly, but underneath, a spark of something else, hope, for him, at least. We walked then, aimless through the drizzle, past graffiti-tagged warehouses and couples huddled under shared umbrellas. He spilled it all. The late-night hookups in Ethan's Chelsea loft, the terror of discovery at work, the relief of finally voicing the lie. You're the only one who gets it, James. You've always been out there, living it. Me? I've been hiding behind straight guy armor since puberty. I nodded, throat tight, memories flooding. Our first Pride parade together, me dragging him along in 2019, rainbows exploding down Fifth Avenue. He'd worn a Love is Love tee ironically at first, but by the end, marching arm in arm, his cheers genuine, eyes bright with something unspoken. You were my anchor that day, I said softly. He grinned, sad-edged. And you were mine, but Ethan loomed like a shadow. Over the next weeks, our hangs shifted, texts delayed, plans canceled with vague work stuff. I threw myself into auditions, landing a callback for a queer indie film about fractured families, the irony not lost. Rehearsals became my escape, lines about hidden desires mirroring my own. One night, post-callback drinks with the cast at a dive in the village. I hooked up with a fellow actor, Marco, tall, tattooed, uncomplicated. It was fire and forget, bodies tangling in his Hell's Kitchen walk-up. But dawn brought emptiness, David's face haunting the sheets. He called the next day, voice strained, Ethan wants to meet you. Thinks it's time. My laugh was hollow. Meet the boyfriend. Like this was normal, like my heart wasn't a battlefield. We did it anyway, dinner at a trendy spot in Soho. Exposed brick and overpriced small plates. Ethan was everything David wasn't. Polished, openly flamboyant, with a laugh like champagne bubbles and stories of Fire Island weekends. He draped an arm over David's chair, possessive, and I hated how right they looked, two puzzle pieces I'd never imagined fitting. Under the table, David's foot brushed mine, accidental or not, sending a jolt. James is the best, he told Ethan, eyes on me. Saved my ass more times than I can count. Ethan nodded, all smiles, but I saw the flicker, territorial, probing. Conversation flowed, jobs, travel, the latest scandals in Adland. But tension simmered, unspoken. As we parted on the curb, Ethan hailing a cab, David hugged me tight, whispering, thanks for this. His breath on my ear ignited old fires, but I pulled away, forcing a grin. Anytime. Straight no. Wait. Not so straight friend. Alone on the subway home, the rattle of tracks mocking my turmoil, betrayal crystallized. Not just David's secret life, but my own complicity, years of sidelined longing, enabling the facade. I journaled it out that night, pages filling with raw scrawl. He opened my eyes, but what if I'm still blind? Climax brewed in fragments. David's texts grew sporadic, laced with guilt, miss our hangs. Then, a bombshell voicemail after midnight. James is bad. Ethan's pushing for more, moving in, the whole deal, and I'm freaking. Can we talk? Sauna again. Irony bit deep. I agreed, heart pounding. The gym's fluorescent buzz a harbinger as I pushed through the doors. Steam enveloped us once more, but this time, no jokes. He arrived disheveled, tie askew from a long day. I told him about us, he blurted, towel clutched like a shield. About the feelings. He flipped, called me a liar, said I was using him to experiment. My chest caved. The word hung, pregnant with possibility. What did you say? That it's real. With you. His eyes met mine, stripped bare. Ethan's right, I've been running. But from you? Never. The air crackled. Conflict electric. I reached out, fingers tracing his jaw, the stubble rough under my palm. Our lips met, tentative, then fervent, a kiss born of years, tasting of salt and surrender. But joy fractured fast. As we broke apart, gasping, his phone buzzed, Ethan's name flashing. He silenced it, but the spell shattered. "This complicates everything," I whispered. He nodded, haunted. "Yeah. But it's worth it." Outside, rain lashed the streets, mirroring the storm within. Little did we know, Ethan's rage was just the prelude to deeper betrayals, the kind that test if love can weather the flood. Winter clamped down on the city like a vice. Snow dusting the fire escapes outside my window, turning Brooklyn into a begrudging postcard. David's kiss lingered on my lips, a phantom bruise that throbbed with every heartbeat. We'd stolen moments since stolen, because that's what they were, hurried coffees in anonymous diners, fingers brushing under tables, his hand in mine during a midnight screening of Brokeback Mountain at an indie theater in Bushwick. Both of us silent through the credits, the parallels too raw to voice. But Ethan cast a long shadow. David's apartment in the East Village became a minefield. He'd sneak out for gym runs that ended with us tangled in my futon, bodies mapping territories long denied. "This is us now," he'd murmur post-climax, head on my chest, the rise and fall of his breathing syncing with the distant L train rumble. I'd trace the freckles across his shoulders, remnants of boyhood summers, and believe it for those stolen hours. Work for me surged. The indie film gig panned out, a supporting role as the conflicted brother in a story of coming-out carnage. Rehearsals in a drafty loft in Dumbo consumed days, lines searing into my soul. "You can't choose who you love, but you can choose to lie about it." Director Lena, a sharp-witted dyke with silver-streaked hair, pulled me aside after one run-through. "You're channeling something real, kid. Don't lose it." If only she knew. David's world, meanwhile, splintered. Ad agency deadlines piled. But it was Ethan who unraveled him. Texts escalating to voicemails laced with venom. "You're playing me, Hayes. That friend of yours?" "I know." Paranoia festered. David changed his passcode, deleted threads, but guilt gnawed. One night, post-rehearsal, he showed up at my door with Thai takeout and hollow eyes. He followed me today. To the gym. I slithered down my spine. We ate cross-legged on the floor, pad thai cooling untouched. "We have to end it with him," I said, firm. David nodded, but hesitation flickered. "It's not that simple. We've got mutual friends, overlapping circles. And he's not all bad." The word stung. A fresh betrayal, not of intent, but of the mess we'd made. I stood, pacing the cramped space. "Then what? Keep juggling? I'm not your side piece." "David." He surged up, pulling me close, lips crashing in apology. "You're everything." We fell into bed, urgency masking the fracture, but dawn brought clarity's cruel light. As he dressed for a talk with Ethan, I gripped his wrist. "Be honest." For once, his kiss goodbye was a promise, or a plea I couldn't tell. The call came hours later, while I was mid-scene in rehearsal, phone vibrating like an aftershock. "James. It's over." With him, relief flooded, chased by dread. "What happened?" Silence stretched. Then he knew. "About us." Said he'd out me to the agency if I didn't choose. My blood ran cold, corporate America. Still a closet for too many. And I chose you. The words ignited, but his voice cracked. But he has proof. Photos from that night at the theater. Betrayal's full weight crashed down. Not just Ethan's spite, but the exposure looming. David's career, fragile as fresh snow, teetered. I rushed to his place, finding him pacing the loft, windows fogged against the flurry outside. We barricaded inside, fortifying with pizza and Netflix, but tension coiled. We'll fight it, I vowed, curled against him on the leather sectional. He stroked my hair, voice muffled. I love you, James. Have for years. The confession bloomed, romantic and ragged, but laced with fear. That night, love unfurled slow, kisses like snowflakes, bodies entwined in the glow of string lights, whispers of futures, road trips to the Grand Canyon, a place of our own upstate. Bliss was fleeting. Ethan's revenge struck mid-December, a poison arrow via group chat. Screenshots circulated among mutuals, grainy shots of us at the theater, hands linked, unmistakable. Captions dripped sarcasm. Guess Dave's got a type after all. Surprise bitch. The backlash rippled. Friends ghosting. David's boss summoning him for a chat that left him ashen. They think I'm a liability, he confessed over burner coffee at a midtown Starbucks. Eyes red-rimmed. Diversity's great on paper, but queer, in ad sales? Risky. Conflict peaked in waves. I rallied, dragging him to a support group at the center in the West Village, where stories of workplace closets echoed his. You're not alone, the facilitator assured, a burly bear with a gentle smile. David nodded, but doubt lingered. Meanwhile, my film-wrapped principal photography, a wrap party at Lena's loft turning cathartic, toasts to breaking chains, Marco pulling me aside with a wink. Heard about your guy. Happy for you. Word traveled fast in these circles. Christmas loomed, a minefield. My folks invited us both, tentative acceptance since my coming out, but David demurred. Too soon. Instead, we escaped to his family's cabin, the one from college winters, blanketed in fresh powder. It was romance incarnate. Fires crackling, mulled wine steaming, our bodies rediscovering in flannel sheets. This is home, he said one night, stars wheeling overhead through the skylight. I believed him, the humanistic core of us shining through, two souls finding harbor in storm. But betrayal's echo resounded on New Year's Eve. Back in the city, a gala at David's agency, black tie, schmoozing execs. He begged me to come as +1, a bold step. I suited up, nerves electric, but midway through champagne flutes and forced smiles, Ethan appeared, uninvited, tuxedo sharp as a blade. Fancy seeing you here, he sneered, cornering us by the hors d'oeuvres. David's hand tightened on mine. Leave it, man. Ethan's laugh was ice. Oh, I will. After this, he pulled out his phone, hitting play a video, shaky cam from some hidden angle. Us in the cabin's hot tub. Last week. Limbs entwined. Moans muffled by steam. Mortification burned. How? A drone? A hiker? David's face drained of color. You son of a... He lunged. But I held him back. Security swarming as Ethan vanished into the crowd. The fallout was cataclysmic. Agency rumors flew. David's promotion evaporated overnight. He stormed out, me trailing to the bitter cold of Times Square, confetti swirling mockingly. "It's ruined," he choked, tears freezing on lashes. I pulled him into an alley, kissing away salt. "We'll rebuild." But doubt seeded, was love enough against this venom? As midnight told, fireworks bursting like false hopes, we clung, the city's pulse our defiant rhythm. Yet Ethan's shadow loomed, promising deeper wounds. The climax approached, not in steam, but in the crucible of choice. Fight together, or fracture apart. January's bite sharpened the edges of everything. The skyline's jagged teeth against gunmetal skies, the raw scrape of regret in David's throat as he paced my apartment. Job search tabs open like wounds on his laptop. The video had gone viral in whispers, a digital scarlet letter passed among industry insiders. Queer drama, they called it, as if our love was a plot twist in someone else's pitch meeting. He'd resigned before they could fire him, pride intact but bank account bleeding. "Freelance for now," he said, forcing optimism over ramen at my counter. "Gives me time for us." The word anchored me, even as fear gnawed. My film premiered at Sundance Proxies in the city, a screening room in Tribeca packed with critics and queer icons. David sat beside me, hand in mine under the armrest, his presence a talisman as the screen flickered to life. My character's arc mirrored ours, hidden glances turning to desperate embraces, betrayal from a jilted lover unraveling the facade. The applause at fade out was thunderous. Lena hugged me fierce. "Oscar bait, kid." But David's smile was strained, eyes haunted by parallels too close. Post-party, we slipped away to a speakeasy in NoHo, jazz humming low, amber liquids warming the chill. "You're a star," he toasted, clinking glasses. I leaned in, lips brushing his ear. "You're my light." The kiss that followed was languid, romantic, tongues tracing promises, hands wandering under the booth's shadow. For a moment, the world receded. No Ethan, no scandals, just the velvet pull of desire, bodies humming in harmony. But reality intruded via a blocked number text to David. "Enjoy the spotlight. But remember, I have more." Attached, a photo from the speakeasy, timestamped minutes ago, us kissing, angled for maximum exposure. Panic flared. "Ethan, still stalking?" We bolted, hailing a cab to my place, paranoia prickling. "He's obsessed," David muttered, scanning shadows. I bolted the door, drawing curtains. "Police," he shook his head. "No proof. Just makes it worse." Nights blurred into a tense idyll, me auditioning by day, him pitching remote gigs from the futon, evenings lost in each other. We cooked, burnt stir-fries laughing into kisses, danced to Motown in socks on scuffed floors, confessed childhood scars under the hum of my ancient radiator. "Dad always said real men don't cry," he admitted one storm-lashed evening, thunder rattling pains. "But with you, I can't help it." Tears traced his cheeks. I kissed them away, our love deepening, humanistic in its tenderness. Two flawed men forging grace from grit. Conflict crested in February. Valentine's a cruel joke. David landed a freelance campaign for a queer-owned apparel brand, ironic salvation, but Ethan escalated. A package arrived at David's old agency. Forwarded. Printed stills from the video. Annotated with barbs. Unprofessional. Unstable. HR called. Bridges burned eternal. Rage boiled. David tracked Ethan's IP via a shady forum contact, pinpointing a loft in Williamsburg. Marco's building? My hookup from months back. Betrayal's web tightened. He knows Marco? I gasped, piecing it. David nodded grimly. Ethan's ex-roommate or something. Small world. We confronted gently, me calling Marco. Voice steady. He using you? Marco's laugh was bitter. Dumb ex. Told him to drop it, but he's spiraling. Sorry, James. Closure. Partial. But the threat lingered. Climax ignited mid-month. A blizzard blanketing the city in white silence. David and I hunkered at the cabin, impromptu escape, his mom's keys a godsend. Snow fell thick, isolating us in flannel and firelight. Romance peaked. Slow dances to crackling logs, bodies slick in the clawfoot tub, whispers of forever. Marry me? He murmured one dawn, ringless but earnest, snow-globed world hours. I said, tears freezing on lashes, hearts entwined in ecstatic vow. But storm broke literal and figurative. Power flickered out, phones dead, isolation turned claustrophobic. Cabin fever unearthed ghosts, David's voice rising. What if I'm poison? Dragging you down. I countered fierce. We're stronger. Yet doubt festered, his freelance drying as rumors spread. Back in the city, thawed but chilled, Ethan ambushed, waiting outside my audition for a Broadway understudy. Face gaunt, eyes wild. James, he hissed, grabbing my arm as I emerged. Tell your boy to back off. Or this goes public, full spread. Your faces everywhere. Heart hammering. I wrenched free. It's over, Ethan. Let it go. He laughed. Manic. Love? You think that's what he wants? I'm the one who woke him up. You're the placeholder. The words eviscerated, planting seeds of fracture. I raced home, finding David mid-breakdown, emails from potential clients withdrawing. Ethan's handiwork. He's winning, David sobbed, collapsing into me. We clung, love's fire raging against despair, but cracks spiderwebbed. That night, in fevered union, I confessed fears. What if he's right? What if I'm not enough? His response. Thrusts and tears, primal affirmation. You're everything. Humanistic threads wove through, therapy sessions at the center. David's voice steadying as he shared in group. Me holding space. Friends rallied, Lena offering set consulting gigs. Marco cutting Ethan off cold. But Ethan's final strike loomed. A grenade pin pulled. It detonated March 1st. A blog post. Anonymous but traceable. Ad sex double life. Straight facade crumbles in steamy betrayal. Details scorched. The sauna. The video. Our names dragged through mud. Media sniffed. David's phone exploded with calls. He vanished that afternoon. Texts unread. My knocks on his door echoing void. Panic clawed. I scoured the city, bars, bridges, the Hudson's Edge where we'd run. Hours bled. Then, a text, Sauna. Now, need you. Heart seizing, I flew to the gym, steam my beacon. There he sat, towel loose, face ravaged. I can't do this, he choked as I entered. The exposure. It's killing me. Betrayal's zenith. Not Ethan's, but David's retreat. Fight with me, I begged, kneeling, hands on his knees. He pulled me up, foreheads touching, breaths mingling. I am. but alone first. The kiss goodbye was shattering, deep, desperate, a romantic dirge. He left for a week. Upstate, solo reflection. I drowned in work. The understudy role mine. Stage lights my solace. Monologues of loss poured from me. Audiences weeping. Letters from David trickled. Learning to stand in my truth. Miss you. Human growth. Painful bloom. Return came thawing April. Him at my opening night, front row. Eyes shining. Post curtain. Backstage. I'm out. Fully. New job at a queer media firm. And you? I grinned. Tears hot. Waiting. Reunion was cataclysmic. Bodies crashing in the green room. Love reborn fiercer. But scars lingered. A reminder truths revealed demand reckoning. Spring erupted in the city like a withheld breath released. Cherry blossoms rioting pink along the high line. The air shedding winter's husk for tentative warmth. David's return marked our renaissance. But the path forward was no fairy tale sweep. It was gritty, human, paved with therapy co-sessions and boundary maps drawn in coffee-stained notebooks. No more hiding. He vowed one sun-dappled morning in my kitchen, sunlight gilding his tousled hair as he stirred eggs. I kissed his shoulder, tasting salt of survival. Together, Ethan's shadow faded, not with fanfare but quiet consequence. Marco's tip led to a restraining order, his blog post traced to a defamatory IP. He slunk away, fired from his graphic design gig, whispers of toxicity preceding him. No vengeance cycle, just space to heal. David framed it thus in group. He was my mirror, cracked. Showed me fractures I needed to mend. Forgiveness, not absolution, a humanistic pivot, turning poison to perspective. Our lives intertwined deliberate now. He moved into my shoebox temporarily, boxes of vinyls and lacrosse sticks cluttering the hall, our scents mingling in the sheets. Mornings. Him brewing pour-over while I ran lines. Evenings. Rooftop picnics overlooking the canal. City lights winking approval. Romance deepened in details. A mixtape of Springsteen covers he burned for my birthday. Crooning off-key in the shower. Surprise tickets to a Yankees game, where he taught me foul balls over hot dogs. His laugh free. Work flourished. My Broadway run extended. Understudy stepping up when the lead twisted an ankle. Spotlights bathing me in acclaim. Critics cooed. Raw vulnerability. A queer everyman breaking chains. David front row every night. Bouquet in hand. His pride a tangible glow. His freelance bloomed into full-time at that queer media startup in Flatiron. Campaigns for LGBTQ+ nonprofits. His straight guy charm now authentic allyship. Who knew repression made killer copy? He'd quip. But eyes serious. Gratitude for the unraveling. Conflict lingered in echoes. Family reckonings. My folks visited. Tentative hugs evolving to toasts over dim sum in Chinatown. We see how he looks at you, Mom whispered, squeezing my hand. David's turn came harder. Philly Drive. His mom's farmhouse fragrant with apple pie. She cried, hugged him fierce. My boy's brave, Dad. Stoic veteran. Clapped his shoulder. Loves the real fight. Son. No rainbow parades, but acceptance's quiet victory. Betrayal's ghost surfaced once more. Summer sweltering. A mutual friend. Buzzed at a pride after-party in the meatpacking district. Spilled. Ethan's crashing with Claire, your ex. Dave. Spinning tales. Laughter over shots. But it pricked old wounds itching. We danced it out on the club's sticky floor, bodies pressed to pulsing bass. His whisper hot, past's prologue, climax revisited. Not in storm but surrender. Later, in our new shared rental in Bed-Stuy brownstone charm, creaky stairs, we made love slow, eyes locked, reaffirming vows unspoken. Humanistic core shown in community. We volunteered at the center, facilitating workshops for closeted execs. David's story a beacon. I was the straight friend who woke up. Don't wait for the sauna. Laughter rippled. Eyes lit with hope. My film hit festivals. Earning indie nods, we jetted to Tribeca. Red carpet hand in hand. Flashes popping like celebratory gunfire. Yet drama's undercurrent persisted, health scare. David's routine check flagging elevated stress markers. Echo of his dad's cancer. Hospital fluorescence harsh. My hand in his. We're in this. Biopsy benign. But it forged us tighter. Love's romance laced with resilience. Eyes wide now, he joked post-discharge, echoing our origin. I kissed him, can't deny the truth. Fall brought full circle. Anniversary of the sauna. We returned, not for steam, but closure. Gym unchanged, but we transformed. In the empty space, towels draped casual. We talked, not confessions, but appreciations. You opened me, he said, fingers lacing mine. To myself. To us. I nodded, throat full. And you showed me love's not a solo act. Outside, Manhattan thrummed, horns, heels, heartbeats. We emerged renewed, arms linked, the city our vast stage. No tragic veil, a happy humanism, flawed, fierce, forward. Betrayals mended into backstory, conflicts to character, climax to calm. Years later, at our commitment ceremony in that upstate cabin, snow-dusted again, friends toasting under strung lights, I'd think back, the hook of his voice in steam, the unraveling, the rise. David, vows exchanged, pulled me close, eyes opened, truth zoned, laughter bubbled, our kiss sealing it. In America's sprawl, where labels loosen and loves endure, we walked out, not unbroken, but beautifully bent, ready for whatever dawn brought.